Justice of the Peace W.E. Bill Richburg has issued 3 separate peace bonds on this character, Murphy, and these are a result of threats and comments that he has made to tavern owners, and Judge Richburg thought that the testimony against him was credible, and I do too. And I think that when he gets out of jail, he's going to bear watching.
Ronnie Peck Morgan, as I understand it, is now in jail, serving 60 days on worthless check charges.
Now that's my understanding, and it's interesting to note that although he denies ever having had any business connection with Mr. C.E. Bradshaw, that in connection with this worthless check charge, it seems that Mr. Bradshaw's lawyer represented him, and Mr. Bradshaw made bail for him. There's a discrepancy here somewhere.
Representative Clark, you stated before the committee today that back in December of 1967, Dorothy Peck agreed to take over a lounge on Ross Avenue, and she paid $1,200 to a Mr. W.W. Taylor for the establishment, agreeing also to pay rent monthly and agreeing that if she wished to buy all the furniture and fixtures at some future date, the price would be $5,200. What evidence did you have to back up these facts and figures?
I've got the check, Murphy.
So I'm not sure as to what geographical location the vice presidential candidate will come from. But geography does not mean what it used to mean in national politics. If that were true, a movement that started in the deep southern part of Alabama has now gotten on the ballot in 50 states of the Union, every state in the Union. So if geography meant anything, surely we would not be on 50 ballots. So I think that the main interest that the American people have is the philosophy and attitude of the candidate and not geography. And that's one thing that movement, our movement has done. It has shown now that you can elect a man president of the United States who will say he's a Southerner. You ought not to elect a man because he's a Southerner, a Midwesterner, a Easterner, or a Westerner, but because of his philosophy and attitude. And I think that this has broken down the barrier of Southerners not having an opportunity to run for the presidency. I think in the future, geography will not mean as much as it has been in the past.
Well, I think they will meet it with mixed emotions. Some will be happy to be back with their families, which they left behind. Some are very disappointed because they're a spirited group.
Does it seem like this would be somewhat of a waste to have trained these men up to the razor's edge, so to speak, and then a few months later they are returned to civilian life?
Unquestionably it is. Of course, sitting at my level, I can't see what the powers to be have in mind, but it is unquestionably money.
feel like a car?
Just like a fire truck.
You want to jump again? Whee!
From here, we'll start a full-fledged campaign throughout the 16th district. We will have the outdoor advertising, we'll have yard signs, we'll have support cards, we'll have direct mailing to the people of the district, we'll have get out the vote on election day. We'll do a little bit of everything, and in fact, we'll just follow up our campaign in May, except we'll do it a little bigger, a little better, and a little more of it.
Representative Clark, you testified in Austin today in connection with the investigation into the vending machine business in Texas, and if I may quote part of your testimony, referring to Ronnie Peck Morgan, you said, "I consider him a threat to the peace and safety of every citizen involved in this investigation." Could you elaborate a bit about that statement, sir?
What do you suppose be on the minds of these men, having been called with the
Nearly a score of state senator and candidates, as well as the candidate for the lieutenant governorship, Ben Barnes, are in the Baker Hotel this afternoon to help the candidate for the 16th senatorial seat, Mike McCool, kick off his Democratic campaign leading up to the general election in November. Mike, where do you go from here in your campaign?
Well, we're kicking off our campaign here today, and I'm really proud of the fact that we have these 19 state senators from all over Texas and Speaker of the House Ben Barnes here.
Your main instrument is the sitar. Now, that's not actually like a guitar. It has strings, but how is it different?
I don't know how to explain. Maybe I'll try to show you on this. It's actually drawn. This portion is a gourd. The front is, of course, wood, teak wood, made of teak wood, long neck. Another piece of gourd here on the top, which is like a sound box. Strings are plucked with the right hand, left hand plays on the frets. The principle is that of guitar, but it's very different to look at.
Many people also perhaps consider Indian music like folk music or jazz. You said the people who appreciate folk music or jazz appreciate your music. Is it the same?
No, it is not. Our music is a classical form of music, but that's why it's so fresh, because we improvise all the time on it. But we have to learn the bass, which is a classical bass, for anything from 8 to 10 years, and then another 5 to 10 years to start improvising. And that's why the similarity many people think with jazz